For the second season running with 27 goals in his second campaign in English football, up against the second highest scorer, the top scoring Englishman last season in Cole Palmer, as he bagged 22 after making the move from Manchester to Chelsea to kick-start his Premier League career. Of course, there's a battle on the sidelines as well today. The latest graduate of the unofficial Pep Guardiola coaching academy, Enzo Maresca, first ever game as a Premier League manager, left Leicester City this summer after guiding the Foxes to Premier League promotion. This is uncharted territory for the Italian, but Pep Guardiola over recent seasons has got more than used to facing some of his former protégés. Pep Guardiola, of course, now into the final year of his Manchester City contract. Speculation swirling over the Spaniard. Will he extend and remain in charge? He's aiming for a fifth successive Premier League title this season, of course. But will that be enough to keep Pep in Manchester? Or will the potential for a new challenge be too much for him to turn down? Fans from Euro 2024 will of course be very curious to see the Spain's victory, poking a little bit of fun at the North. Will be trembling in his chic, and Adam Nunn as assistants. Darren England is the fourth official. It's Michael Salisbury and Dan Cook on VAR duty. Before we get underway though, I can give you an update on one other Premier League score so far today. An Ivan Toney-less Brentford winning 2-1 at home to Crystal Palace to make their mark on the new Premier League season. Thomas Frank confirming before the game that Toney was left out of the squad due to some ongoing transfer speculation on his future. Another player into the final 12 months of their contract. He's rejected a move to the Saudi Pro League, but he is not adverse to making a move to another Premier League side. But the focus has shifted ever so slightly down the road in West London, from the GTEC Community Stadium to here at Stamford Bridge. And it is the champions against the Chelsea. And as has been the case for every Premier League game this weekend, both sets of players will take the knee before kick-off as part of the Premier League's ongoing message that there is no room for racism in Premier League football. And it is Manchester City to get us underway, kicking from left to right in their home strip of light blue, and Chelsea in their home kit of royal blue. Long ball forward there from Ederson, just bounces all the way through to his opposite number, Robert Sanchez. The Spaniard keen to get an early grip on things. He's been preferred in the starting lineup today to Philip Jorgensen, brought in from Villarreal over the summer. And an absolute slew of changes made by Enzo Maresca. We'll touch on those a little bit later on, but as I mentioned in the lineup news, he's opted for players that were here last season, albeit a mixed impact for the likes of Lavia and Nkunku due to injuries, but the new signings for now will have to wait. Here's Rico Lewis bursting forward from right back for Man City over the halfway line. Lays it on to Jeremy Doku. Lewis will go for the reverse. The ball from Doku just had a little bit too much on it for Rico Lewis. Spin out of play for a goal kick to Chelsea. Good link up there between. A new challenge be too much for him to turn down. Fans from Euro 2024 will of course be very curious to see the first little challenge between Marc Cucurella today. He suffered a hamstring injury in Spain's win over England in the final, and on the back of playing 60 games for club and country last season, Guardiola is taking no chances with his midfield linchpin. Goal kick from Chelsea played short, but eventually they're forced back to Sanchez. He'll kick it long up to the halfway line, aiming for Cole Palmer. Josko Gvardiol at left back for City just lets that drift out of play. There's Akanji. Just looking to build some possession for Manchester City. Chelsea happy to drop back, get all 11 players behind the ball as City start to build, but a switch from Gvardiol at left back to try and release Jeremy Doku down this near right channel is well dealt with by Cucurella. Here's Enzo Fernandez, tries to slide that through the lines into the feet of Nicholas Jackson, but Akanji wins it on the halfway line. Now De Bruyne. Savinha, first sighting of him as a Premier League player. Fantastic, of course, for Girona in La Liga last season, the catalyst for their first ever Champions League qualification. How will he fare in the Premier League? Here is Savinha, tries to loop across in. It's deflected off Malo Gusto. And again into the arms of Robert Sanchez. Good work there from Mateo Kovacic. Immediately tries to shut down Enzo Fernandez as Chelsea try and build from the goal kick, but Cucurella helps out his teammate there. Fernandez named as captain by Enzo Maresca today. Reece James, the regular first choice armband wearer for the home side, is both injured and suspended. 3-game ban carrying over from last season. And he's also recovering from a hamstring problem. So it's Copa America winner Enzo Fernandez leading the Blues today. So sloppy ball out of defence from Akanji there. Caught between options of Lewis and Doku, both stood on the halfway line. Just skid out for a throw-in. Taken by Cucurella. Akanji quickly in there to win back possession though, and Haaland will try and release Jeremy Doku down this near right channel for City. Doku tries to lift that back into Haaland. Just drifts over the Chelsea crossbar. Great anticipation there from Manchester City. Haaland just dropping into the space in behind Lavia and Caicedo. And just waiting for a mistake from Chelsea. Fernandez gave it up. Doku just couldn't quite get his angles right there as he tried to pick out Haaland at the far post, but a warning sign for Chelsea. As Colwill goes long from the goal kick. He's done well there to find another blue shirt, and it's Christopher Nkunku who will keep that alive on the dead ball line. Good work from Rico Lewis to get a foot in and force him backwards, but Chelsea still have it here. Lavia, 25 yards from goal, just squares it across to Cole Palmer on the Chelsea right. Now Caicedo. First little spell of Chelsea possession as we tick over the 5-minute mark here at Stamford Bridge, and it's been all Manchester City so far, but creativity of Palmer and co will cause some problems. Here's Gusto. Tries to slip Palmer in down that right hand side, but he's challenged. Chelsea are appealing for a corner there. Malo Gusto holds his arms out in frustration. He thought that caught a City player as he tried to find Palmer inside the box, and at first glance it did look to clip Josko Gvardiol. Referee's assistant claiming that it took a double touch off Gusto. Goal kick to Manchester City. Two teams here today with a pretty formidable Premier League opening day record. Before a ball was kicked this season, Chelsea had the joint highest ever Premier League points in the opening game of the season. Level on 67 with Manchester United. Their win over Fulham on Friday puts United as the outright leaders. Chelsea playing catch-up in that sense, and Manchester City under Pep Guardiola have lost just once in their first Premier League game of a season. Will something give for either of those records today? The changing goal kick taker here for City as Ruben Diaz takes over duties from Ederson, just trying to try something different from the set piece, but it's eventually Ederson that goes long, and it's cut out by Cucurella, who just chests that over the halfway line from left back. No meetings with Erling Haaland just yet for the Spanish international. Excellent for La Roca at Euro 2024 this summer. He's had a somewhat mixed time as a Chelsea player, but he was backed by Luis de la Fuente as his first choice option, and Played a really, really important role for Spain. Possession just worked all the way back to Robert Sanchez now in the Chelsea goal. He'll again try to spring that long ball in behind for Nkunku to chase Rico Lewis back towards his own goal, and Manchester City's number 82 sees that one out for a throw-in to the visitors. Here's Kovacic, spins away from Enzo Fernandez just in front of his own 18-yard box, and eventually Ruben Diaz steps in to support. Just as part of the research for this game and looking into some of the statistics of chaos around Chelsea and solidity around City, the task facing Enzo Maresca does not get any simpler. He's the fourth different permanent head coach for Chelsea in the last 6 seasons. Quite something for Blues fans to have to deal with. Well, Manchester City just trying to build something here. Savinho spins away from Cole Palmer. He's got a chance to poke it into Bernardo Silva inside the box here. Angle was tight. It's blocked behind by Levi Colwill. Good link up there between Savinho and Silva to create the chance. First corner of the game. Taken over on that far left-hand side. Delivered in deep. Headed back across goal, but the whistle is gone. Akanji was climbing at the far post, and Haaland and Fernandez were tangling inside the 6-yard box. Anthony Taylor quick to whistle against that one. I rather interrupted my statistic about Enzo Maresca. So 4th different permanent Chelsea boss on an opening Premier League day in the last 6 seasons, and perhaps even more starkly in contrast to City, Chelsea have had 7 different permanent managers since Gvardiol took charge at City in 2016. Now Chelsea trying to cause some problems of their own. Malo Gusto trying to whip that quick ball in early from right back. It's eventually poked behind for a Chelsea corner. He had options in the middle, Gusto there, went for the quick early ball. Corner taken quickly by Chelsea over on that far right hand side. Palmer will lift the ball in. It's helped up and over the crossbar by Wesley Fofana. Chelsea tried to catch City out there with the quickly taken corner. It was Palmer just looked to angle that one in towards the penalty spot. It was of course the scourge of City in this fixture last season. Scored a penalty deep into added time to secure a 4-4 draw at Stamford Bridge. That was a wild night. In fact, Manchester City failed to beat Chelsea in either of their Premier League meetings last season. Bernardo Silva's winner in the FA Cup, the only time that Guardiola got the better of Mauricio Pochettino. Gvardiol just switches that over to this near right hand side. Jeremy Doku now midway inside the Chelsea half of the field, trying to get a run at Christopher Nkunku, who's dropped back in to help out Marc Cucurella at left back for Chelsea. Doku again spins away from Cucurella. Chance here for Doku to cross, checks back. Cucurella stays with him. Cucurella does well there to win back possession for Chelsea. Dogged defending there from the host number 3. Savinho gets a similar treatment from Cole Palmer on the opposite side. Now Gvardiol finds Lewis into Doku inside the box, steps infield away from Cucurella this time. Initially it looked as if it had caught Cucurella there, but I think it was just a miscued effort from Doku in the end. Flies well wide of Robert Sanchez's post. Doku is carrying the main threat here for Manchester City. So much speed and creativity with him and Savinho either side of Erling Haaland, and we throw Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva into the mix, and Chelsea are likely to have a few headaches today. 12 minutes gone here at Stamford Bridge. No goals so far. On Flash Score UK, it is Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. It's a who's who of new arrivals on the substitutes bench for Chelsea today, as the home side looks to try and make some headway down this near left-hand side. Enzo Fernandez over the halfway line. Makes some ground before switching it over to Cole Palmer. Level with the Manchester City 18-yard box, just steps in off that right-hand side. Palmer, now Lavia. Cucurella well advanced, midway inside the Manchester City half of the field. Enzo Fernandez, who's just drifted over to this left-hand side to try and orchestrate something for Chelsea, and the City press eventually forces them back. Palmer keeps it alive for Chelsea though. Again, just drifted in off that right-hand side. Thought about the shot, but as he's preparing to pull the trigger from 25 yards, Mateo Kovacic gets a foot in. Kevin De Bruyne will just arc that over from left to right to Doku. Cucurella strayed into him, and Doku eventually goes back safely into his own half with Rico Lewis. Real battle of the wings so far, Doku and Cucurella. Palmer and Gvardiol. Silva looks to drift over to lend Doku a hand now. Doku again up against Cucurella on the edge of the Chelsea box. Lewis back to Doku. Tries the little 1-2 to get away from Cucurella there. Cucurella goes to ground. Doku wanted a corner there. It's going to be a free kick against the Belgian international. A piece of Cucurella's shirt there as he tried to get the better of him. Plenty of new shiny toys for Enzo Maresca if he wants to make changes. Tosin Adebayo, Philip Jorgensen, Pedro Neto, Kieran Dewsbury Hall, who was of course such a massive part of his championship winning side at Leicester. Former Barcelona striker Marc Guiu and Renato Vega, all possibilities off the bench for Chelsea. Manchester City's sole major signing this summer is starting, of course, Savinho. Chelsea got a chance here. Nicholas Jackson just trying to wriggle away from Diaz on the edge of the box. Diaz forced to slide and concede the corner. Jackson never really had control of that as he tried to wrestle himself away from Akanji first and then Diaz second. Diaz just got his body in between man and ball there, but eventually has to knock it out for a corner. The referee, on second review, has actually overruled his assistant, and that'll be a goal kick to Manchester City for an infringement by Jackson. No corner, just one corner apiece so far here at Stamford Bridge. De Bruyne in the centre circle, brilliantly just gets away from two Chelsea tackles there. Anthony Taylor signals for a free kick. Romeo Lavia with a tug at De Bruyne's shirt there. Caicedo eventually completed the job to prevent De Bruyne from advancing, but it was a free kick all day there. Anthony Taylor tried to play the advantage, but nothing doing for Manchester City. Now Doku switched over to the left to try and get some joy against Malo Gusto. De Bruyne bursting past him there, fizzed that cross in right across the 6-yard line. Safe hands though from Robert Sanchez. A busy start for the Chelsea goalkeeper, no significant saves to make, but he's been astute when needed. Cucurella again in the wars, this time coming down under a challenge from Savinho. Two Manchester City wingers swapping sides. Doku now up against Gusto. Savinho versus Cucurella. Sanchez again just tries that big hoof downfield to try and gain some territory for Chelsea with Nkunku and Jackson, and Chelsea do win back the second ball. Jackson just tried to be too clever there to backheel it to Cucurella, who didn't read the signal to keep going with the overlap. Dangerous ball there for Manchester City, played right across their goal line. Real confidence with Manuel Akanji and his centre-back partner Ruben Diaz. Not even an eyebrow raised by Pep Guardiola on that one. Here's Gvardiol advancing from left back for City up towards the halfway line. Bernardo Silva offers the short pass for the Croatian international. despite the absolute flood of goals in the reverse fixture last season here at Stamford Bridge. 8 scored in total, 4 each. It did take until the 25th minute for Erling Haaland's penalty to break the deadlock, so no need to panic at this stage for any side. De Bruyne making strides down the Man City left, just tries to dink that into the box, but it's knocked out for a throw-in, level with the 18-yard line by Wesley Fofana. Here's Josko Gvardiol. Silva mix up again with Gvardiol, and eventually De Bruyne just tried a little cute flick around the corner for Gvardiol to race onto, but it's cleared by Chelsea. Man City win it back immediately on the halfway line though. City starting to settle back into that early dominance that we saw here. Doku gets a little run at Moises Caicedo over on the left hand side. Now it falls nicely for Haaland inside the box. Cucurella with the challenge, and Haaland dinks it home. And Manchester City, 17 minutes on the clock. Who else but Erling Haaland, Premier League Golden Boot winner for the last 2 seasons. It's taken him no time at all to get off the mark here. Some sloppy defending by Chelsea as they fail to clear their lines. Cucurella went with Haaland inside the 6-yard box, won the initial challenge. Sanchez goes to ground, and Haaland keeps his cool to dink it over the Spaniard and give Manchester City the breakthrough they want here at Stamford Bridge. Doku initially started it out wide on the left-hand side, just cut in, helped on its way by Bernardo Silva. He slipped as Fofana went into challenge. Haaland was alive as ever. Cucurella couldn't live with him at the second time of asking. Just gets away from the Chelsea left-back. And it's a really cute finish from Haaland in the end, as the chance almost seemed to roll away from him on the edge of the 6-yard box. Now, possibility here. The celebrations could be cut short. Anthony Taylor confirming to the Manchester City players that this is being checked by VAR for an offside or potential offside against Bernardo Silva in the build-up. It was Silva's little toe poke on the edge of the box that created the chance for Erling Haaland. There's a possibility that the Portuguese star was fractionally beyond Wesley Fofana when Doku's pass came to him. We have our first VAR intervention here at Stamford Bridge in the 2024-25 Premier League season. The lines will be drawn in just a moment. And that's it, confirmed. Bernardo Silva onside, and Haaland's opening goal here at the Bridge stands. Manchester City have themselves lift off in their Premier League title defence. Victory for Arsenal and Liverpool yesterday. The Gunners 2-0 winners over Wolves as the Reds won away at Ipswich Town to kick off the Arne Slot era. Manchester City, anything they can do, City can do better. Erling Haaland's 5th Premier League goal in 3 opening day Premier League fixtures as a Manchester City player. Superb record for the Norwegian. And with just under a quarter of the game gone, Manchester City are in front. Good work there from Silva immediately from the kickoff. Chelsea looking sloppy as it went back to Cucurella. Silva crunches in on him, concedes the throw in. Just leaves a little marker on the Chelsea left back. Mentioned before the game how Haaland and Cucurella would get on, and round 1 definitively won by the Norwegian. Here's Doku, happy to stick out over on that left hand side for the moment. Forced back towards the halfway line though with De Bruyne. Kovacic, lovely spin away from his marker there to find Rico Lewis. Lavia goes to ground to try and challenge Lewis, but he does well there, the Manchester City right back. Pops it off to Savinho, who'll be forced backwards towards the halfway line by Cucurella. Akanji, chased down by Enzo Fernandez. Safety there from the Switzerland international, just goes back to his goalkeeper. Kovacic there, so comfortable on the edge of his own area to Pop a pass through the Chelsea press to Lewis, and Savinho will raid in off that right touchline away from Cucurella onto De Bruyne. A chance for De Bruyne on the edge of the box, just past the post from the Belgian. And that was absolutely Kevin De Bruyne territory. Smack bang centre of the goal, 25 yards out. He just opened up his right foot, tried to bend it round Wesley Fofana, but couldn't guide it in past Robert Sanchez's post. And the home side are rocking here. Haaland ruffling Cucurella, and Kevin De Bruyne very, very close to making it an immediate double. What does Enzo Maresca have in response to this? First ever Premier League game, of course. It arguably a symbol of just how difficult it is at the sharp end of English football that he's been paired against his former, well, maybe not former friend, former colleague, ongoing friend, I'm sure, Pep Guardiola. Faces a real challenge here. Long ball forward, cut out on the edge of the Chelsea box by Malo Gusto. Cole Palmer tries to feed it back to the Spaniard as he races away from Gvardiol, but a bit of good fortune there for the Manchester City left back, who catches him on the heel. It'll be a throw in to Chelsea on the halfway line. Alongside those new signings on the bench for Chelsea, should of course mention some likely exits. Conor Gallagher is back in London training alone. Talks with Atletico Madrid expected to be restarted in the next few days. Samu Amora Dion will not be coming to Chelsea. There is a strong potential of a swap with João Felix. Maresca, in no uncertain terms, confirming that Gallagher is not in his plans. João Felix wants out of Atletico Madrid. Potentially be a perfect fit for both players. Romelu Lukaku also not involved today. He's expected to complete a move to Napoli before the transfer window closes at the end of August. No transfer movement from Man City at the moment. Oscar Bob ruled out until the start of 2025. He very unfortunately suffered a broken leg in pre-season training. Julian Alvarez, of course, has already gone to Atletico Madrid. Pep Guardiola, as it stands, seems happy with his options. Here's Fofana. Steps over the halfway line for Chelsea. Almost slipped there as he tried to make some ground beyond Jeremy Doku, but he recovers well, the former Leicester man. Great to see him back in this Chelsea team. He's had such a difficult time with serious injury since moving to the capital. He's still working to justify that huge price tag. Doku goes to the ground over on that far left, midway inside the Chelsea half. He was tangle of legs with Malo Gusto. Anthony Taylor rules in favour of Doku. Both sets of players will just take this opportunity to reset for a moment. 27 minutes gone here. Been a fascinating watch so far. Erling Haaland with the all-important goal here. Now we've got ourselves a little moment of controversy. Anthony Taylor immediately whistles there as Christopher Nkunku and Manuel Akanji have a bit of a coming together on the edge of the Manchester City box. Akanji played himself into trouble there. His ball out was blocked by Nkunku. As the Frenchman got away from him, that decision could have gone either way. Anthony Taylor claiming that the initial foul was made by Nkunku. And of course point you in the direction of some additional live audio coverage available here on Flashscore if you're staying with us this evening. Kylian Mbappe's Real Madrid debut away at Mallorca. That's an 8:30 PM kickoff in the UK, 9:30 local time. Carlo Ancelotti confirming the Frenchman, of course, will start in Parma. And then tomorrow, 8 PM UK time, Leicester City are back in the Premier League as they play host to Tottenham. Steve Cooper at the helm at the King Power, with Maresca now in situ here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have managed to build some possession in the last few minutes as they try and steady themselves from that goal. Haaland, just the velocity around the way that he plays can shake even the best of them. Cucurella, Fofana and Sanchez just unable to deal with him really as he forced his way into the home side 6-yard box and clipped home the breakthrough goal here. Cucurella does well there to win that battle with Savinho and get Nkunku moving down the Chelsea left all the way to the 18-yard box. Forced in field though to Lavia. Palmer with a little bit of space here. Good tackle there from Haaland as he just nicked in front of Palmer. City give it away as they try and build out from the back. Lavia will rescue possession. Scramble of bodies there as the home side just about keep the ball. Here's Fofana now on the halfway line for Chelsea. Romeo Lavia pops that through the lines to Enzo Fernandez, on to Nkunku. He'll go one-on-one with Lewis into the box, just dinks it over to that far side. Can Gusto keep it in? He can, right before the corner flag for Chelsea. Support here from Cole Palmer. Palmer immediately put under pressure by Kevin De Bruyne, but he's managed to wriggle away and come back over to the left-hand side of the box with Nkunku. Cucurella. A carousel of possession here for Chelsea. Back to Palmer, who stayed on this left-hand side now, and that curled cross is an easy one for Ederson. City want to get on with this quickly though. De Bruyne to Doku. He'll race away over the halfway line. Caicedo jogs back to cover at right back. De Bruyne will support Haaland, support Doku rather. Haaland the only player inside the Chelsea 18-yard box. Kovacic back with Doku. Malo Gusto just trying to keep his eye on the ball rather than Doku's dancing feet. De Bruyne drifts it over to the right now with Savinho. Tries to take advantage of a one-on-one with Cucurella into the box, headed away by Levi Colwill, picked up by Enzo Fernandez. And Nkunku immediately shut down though by Manuel Akanji. A throw in to Chelsea in their left back spot, deep inside their own half of the field. Half an hour gone here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 1. Erling Haaland, who else really, giving Manchester City their first goal of their Premier League title defence this season. Cucurella's throwing just nodded back out of play for another one. Come forward 10 or 15 metres up towards the halfway line for Chelsea. It's appealing for options here. Cucurella, there's not really too much on. Jackson eventually shows in front of Ruben Diaz. Manchester City so quick to win back possession though. Lewis to De Bruyne. Akanji steps away from Jackson. Thought about the ball into the channel there for Savinho to get away from Cucurella, but the chance was quickly shut down by two Chelsea players. Here's Ruben Diaz. Gvardiol. Bernardo Silva dropping onto the halfway line to lend a hand. Quick ball, tries to spring Silva in behind. Gvardiol, who spotted the run of the Portuguese international. Sanchez will gather. The best two chances have fallen to the champions. Haaland's finish and trademark Kevin De Bruyne effort from the edge of the box didn't have the usual effect from the brilliant Belgian. The one goal deficit means that Chelsea are still firmly in this. No Raheem Sterling for Chelsea today either. Enzo Maresca confirming that decision before kick-off that he was omitted from the squad. Nothing to see here in terms of the official reports from Maresca and Sterling's camps claiming that he is committed to Chelsea. He's not seeking a transfer away from the club. Juventus have been linked with a possible offer for him. Maresca claimed it was nothing more than a technical decision. Nice turn of feet there from Romeo Lavia to take a short goal kick from Robert Sanchez. Chelsea moving through the gears down the right hand side now as Gusto tries to find Fernandes. That's a really poor touch from the Argentinian. He's appealing that he was bundled to the floor, but it appeared as if he was waiting for the contact from Savinho. His loose control was the main issue there. Gusto cutting it back for him, and you could argue that Savinho could have done better to slow himself down as he raced back to help out, but Anthony Taylor certainly in the initial stages has dismissed that as a possible penalty appeal. He won't be going to VAR on this one. Would have been unfortunate for Savinho on his Premier League debut. Chelsea now looking to build out from the back. Cucurella just steps over the halfway line from left back for the home side. Fernandes offers a passing route in field, but the ball forward cut out again by City. First Akanji, then Kovacic. Now Gvardiol will ease that one back to Ederson. Cool, calm and collected from the Brazilian to find Akanji inside the City 18-yard box, but the ball out's been given away. Savinho with the poor pass back to Lewis. Cucurella will race on, tries to lift one into the box, headed away by Josko Gvardiol. Nodded down and kept alive. Palmer, nice touch to get away from Gvardiol, but Diaz gets there first to find De Bruyne. He's shut out though quickly by Chelsea. Enzo Fernandez just tried to lift that one to see if Jackson or Nkunku could make a burst into the box. Eventually dealt with by Manchester City. Palmer with a little cheeky smile there for Kevin De Bruyne. His touch initially to get away from Diaz, pretty special, and here's Savinho. He's done well to get away from Cucurella, on into the box, down the City right. Can he find a cutback here? Kovacic with the blast, Cucurella with the block. Palmer will try and get Chelsea moving quickly here. The ball over the top to Jackson. Offside flag stays down for now. Jackson on into the box. The angle's against him here as he steps in past Ruben Diaz. Thought about the ball, and eventually it is blocked. Spins up for Malo Gusto. Both sets of players seem to be expecting an offside flag there. Jackson never looked confident at any stage as he raced through. Ruben Diaz just managed the situation, and Gusto will try and lift the cross into the box. And now, almost 60 seconds later, the flag is up. That will save a little bit of embarrassment for Nicholas Jackson. That strayed just past Ruben Diaz when that ball came forward. As he races away into the left channel and Diaz sets off in pursuit, it never looked likely that the Chelsea striker was going to get a meaningful shot away. Pep Guardiola just making that point to the fourth official, Darren England, about the incredibly late offside decision. Anthony Taylor is calling a halt to proceedings and allowing Manchester City to restart play. Josko Gvardiol just outside the edge of Manchester City's penalty area. Bernardo Silva will show short to give him an option. Fernandes with the pressures. Loose touch there from Silva, but eventually finds its way to Manuel Akanji. Now Lewis will bomb forward from right back for City over the halfway line. Savinho backs him up. Good feet there from the Brazilian. Gets away from two Chelsea tacklers and three past Cucurella. Savinho again getting the better of Cucurella. Can he find a cross? Cucurella gets back in to block him off, and Savinho, as we've seen in the last couple of runs, wants to get back onto that left foot, and that's giving Cucurella a chance. But he's here again. Savinho tiptoed into the box. Ball to De Bruyne is cut out though by Nkunku. Akanji immediately thunders into Fernandes, and that's going to be a free kick in favour of the Chelsea captain. The left back position for the home team, but the quickly taken set piece given away. Doku's got a chance here on the edge of the box. Doku with a drive, tipped over by Sanchez. Big save from the Spanish international. Chelsea so poor there, outfoxed themselves from the free kick from a defensive position. Doku's drive takes a nick off Wesley Fofana. That just makes the save from Robert Sanchez even more impressive. Actually, just his body sticks up a big left hand and diverts it over the crossbar. Corner to City over on that far left hand side. De Bruyne to take right footed. Clips it into the middle of the box. Headed away though by Chelsea. Levi Colwill this time clearing the lines for the home team, but it's worked back out onto that left hand side with Doku. Now Gvardiol. Chelsea again back in numbers to just about keep City at bay. Palmer trying to find a way out from right back there, but it's instant pressure for Manchester City every time Chelsea try and build something from their own defensive third. City back in possession here again. Savinho again up against Cucurella. Can he take him on into the 18-yard box? He's forced backwards initially to Rico Lewis. Kovacic. Savinho again. It's Bernardo Silva who burst past him this time. Enzo Fernandez will go with him and he wins the battle this time. Cucurella's ball is worked up to Christopher Nkunku, but he's forced backwards down this near left channel inside the Chelsea half of the field, and Manchester City are just swarming on Chelsea every time they try to get themselves going. This is better from the home side though now. As Cole Palmer makes some yards down that right hand side over the halfway line, lifts the ball into the box, knocked down by Nkunku, falls for Fernandez, blocked, and that'll be behind for a Chelsea corner. Cole Palmer providing the key for Chelsea once again. It's his calmness in possession just to get Chelsea away down that right hand side. Good ball into the box, kept alive. Fernandez at 10 yards out, just tried to keep it low and on target. Was blocked behind for a corner. Fourth of the game. 2 for City, 2 for Chelsea. It'll be Fernandez to come over and take it on this near left hand side, right footed. Cole Palmer in attendance as well, but it's Fernandez who delivers, headed away at the near post by Erling Haaland. Palmer tries to get there before Savinho, but Savinho wins out. There's space for him to race into here if he's got support. He's got it from Doku. Haaland's making ground through the middle. Can Doku find him? Good piece of defending there from Chelsea, but De Bruyne keeps it going. Silva now with the chance. As De Bruyne goes down and stays down. Play on, says the referee. Silva with the drive. Saved by Sanchez. Doku will keep it going. Kevin De Bruyne is still laid out on the deck on the edge of the Chelsea penalty area. His team are continuing on with this one as Doku tries to wriggle away and find a cross in. Anthony Taylor still not blowing his whistle. He is now. Is that what champions do? Your talisman is down injured. Maybe that's the ruthlessness of being an elite winning side. Kevin De Bruyne was down and in pain for a couple of minutes there as City looked in prime position to make it 2-0. Haaland absolutely storming through the middle of the pitch. Doku spotted him. I think it was Wesley Fofana who got back and just the slightest of touches stopped that pass going through to Haaland. It was Caicedo, Fofana, Lavia, everybody racing back there to try and help out. Kevin De Bruyne is back on his feet. Savinho has also gone down off the ball. Manchester City medical team have dealt with De Bruyne. Checking over Savinho. 41 minutes gone here at Stamford Bridge. The opening Premier League game of the season for both teams. Haaland's goal, the difference as it stands as we move towards the break. De Bruyne back up on his feet, he looks okay, but Savinho is getting the old magic spray on an injury. Just been shown a replay of that Erling Haaland goal, and there's nothing really Chelsea could do to stop him. Colwill initially, then Cucurella. Cucurella gets a little touch on the ball. Just the physicality of Haaland keeps the chance alive. As Sanchez goes to ground to try and sweep it away. Just dinks it over the Chelsea keeper. Opens his account for this Premier League season. It was a drop-off by his own rather stratospheric standards last season. 36 Premier League goals in his debut campaign, set a new record for a Golden Boot winner. 27 last season. It's hardly a paltry amount, but when you're one of the deadliest strikers on the planet, everything always seems to be on an upward curve. Savinho has been taken off the pitch for the moment by the Manchester City physios. City down to 10 momentarily. I imagine that will impact the amount of time added on here before the half-time whistle. Here's Josko Gvardiol. Advances forward from left back for City. It's Kevin De Bruyne who goes back to Ruben Diaz on the edge of the Manchester City penalty area. Manuel Akanji now in possession. So Pep Guardiola will be very pleased with what he's seen. His team have been the better side in the opening 44 minutes. Erling Haaland doing what he does best. Perfectionist that Pep is, maybe slightly frustrated that there hasn't been a second goal. There's been enough chances for it. Enzo Maresca's first ever Premier League half-time team talk is incoming, and he's got a big job on his hands to get them back into this game. Here's Rico Lewis, just steps over the halfway line from right back for City, immediately hassled and harried there by Romeo Lavia. Be a throw in to City, smack bang on the halfway line. Lewis will take. Savinho has now been ushered back onto the field of play. City back up to their full complement of 11 players. Jackson feeds that one off to Nkunku. He's got space to find Palmer on the right. Palmer strikes, is held by Ederson, falls for Jackson, and Jackson finds the back of the net. He's got his head in his hands though, as the offside flag immediately flashes up against the Chelsea striker. Ederson will be relieved, as that was a poor attempt to gather in Palmer's drive. It was straight at him. He should have been able to gather that one in and keep a hold of it. As the strike comes in, to the naked eye, Jackson does look to be just beyond Manuel Akanji. Finished it off well. But the offside flag this time was quickly raised. No indication at the moment that Anthony Taylor will be asking for any further support on this one. Nicholas Jackson's popped over to plead his case. As I say, looking at it initially, it certainly does look as if Jackson has just gone a fraction too early. And that is the decision. Decision stands, no goal for Chelsea. 5 minutes of additional time added on. Two very good chances for Nicholas Jackson. The offside flag denying him on both occasions. Ederson goes long from the recycled goal kick. Well won by Marc Cucurella there in front of Savinho. Lavia bursts away from a couple of tackles. Does well to feed that into eventually Christopher Nkunku inside the box. He's tracked though by Manuel Akanji. Now Cucurella. Can Chelsea carve out a chance in these 5 extra minutes before the break? Lavia. Back to Nkunku down this Chelsea left-hand side, just in front of the Manchester City penalty area. Lavia will spread that over to the right to Gusto now. Chelsea right back rather thought about the cross, but Doku got back into shepherd him in field to Palmer. Levi Colwill on the edge of the centre circle for Chelsea. Plays it back to this near side with Nkunku. Cucurella. City just looking to shepherd Chelsea back into their own half of the field and usher themselves towards the half-time break. Cucurella into the feet of Christopher Nkunku. Nice little touch there in the middle from Nicholas Jackson to get it back to Nkunku. Kovacic goes to ground, wins the ball fairly, according to Anthony Taylor, and then De Bruyne goes down. Jackson catches him. That is going to be a free kick this time. Chelsea players unhappy with that challenge from Kovacic on Nkunku. No doubting that the second instance was a foul. Jackson on De Bruyne. Just a couple of minutes left here before Anthony Taylor calls time. And that's been a very exciting first half of football at Stamford Bridge. Free kick switched over to the left to De Bruyne, and then on to Doku. He'll take on Gusto. Good pace from Doku there. Finds Silva. He's dealt with at the near post by Wesley Fofana. Tries to go long up to Jackson, but he's beaten to it on the halfway line by Diaz and Akanji. Dealt with Jackson pretty well in the majority of the City defenders so far today. Doku has another chance here to go at Gusto. Goes to the ground here. He wanted a free kick on the edge of the box there. Anthony Taylor says no, and Chelsea have got an opportunity to burst forward themselves through the middle of the field. Here's Lavia. Edges over to that far right-hand side. Palmer over the halfway line now. On into the edge of the box, finds Fernandes. Another loose touch, Enzo Fernandes, but he gets away. Eventually dribbles into Ederson's gloves. Fernandes again asking a question of Anthony Taylor. The answer is once again the same, no penalty. The messy tangling of legs between Fernandes and Diaz there. Diaz seems to get the initial challenge right, but then slipped as Fernandes wriggled away from him, and certainly is half a claim there from Enzo Fernandes. And he's down in pain, asking for some treatment here. No indication from Taylor that he'll look at that decision again. Would likely add on a minute or two though. As we move beyond the additional 5 minutes of additional time here at the end of the first half. Big call for Enzo Maresca to make during half-time. Does he change things around? Throw on one or two of his new faces, or does he stick with his plan A against the defending champions? Still plenty of time to turn this around, and City 1 at the break. And it is the home side that get us back underway here. Just news of one substitution at the interval for Manchester City. Savinho on his debut. I mentioned before the break that he appeared to pick up an injury in the closing stages of the first half. Pep Guardiola has made his first alteration of the afternoon. Phil Foden on for Savinho. Foden, of course, one of those players given an extended summer break after his run to the final of Euro 2024. City try and build a bit of early momentum here from left back. Josko Gvardiol gives it away though, to be immediately given back away by Chelsea. Here's Jeremy Doku, who'll race over the halfway line down the Manchester City left. We'll look at the starting lineups in just a moment. Doku tussling away here with Romeo Lavia. Been industrious in the heart of the Chelsea midfield in his first Premier League starts for them. Only made one substitute appearance last season after a absolutely injury-wrecked campaign. Phil Foden gets his first touch over on that far right-hand touchline, midway inside the Chelsea half of the field. To the feet of Rico Lewis. We can just spin through those starting lineups. Chelsea unchanged. Robert Sanchez in goal, a back four of Malo Gusto, Wesley Fofana, Levi Colwill and Marc Cucurella. Moises Caicedo and captain Enzo Fernandez in midfield. Lavia, Cole Palmer, Christopher Nkunku and Nicholas Jackson lead the attack. As for Man City, Ederson in goal, Rico Lewis, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Diaz, Josko Gvardiol, Kevin De Bruyne and Mateo Kovacic in midfield. And the recently introduced Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva, Jeremy Doku, and the man with his name on the score sheet here at the bridge, Erling Haaland. Plenty of Chelsea substitutes sent out to warm up by Enzo Maresca during the 15-minute break here. But on his own Premier League management debut, the Italian has opted against changes at this stage. Bernardo Silva just drifting back into his own half of the field to pick up possession from Ruben Diaz. Slight change in shape from Chelsea since the start of the second period. Enzo Fernandez is pushed up very high in a kind of hybrid number 10 position, right in behind Nicholas Jackson. Cole Palmer on the right, Christopher Nkunku on the left, with Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia as two deep-lying defensive midfielders for Chelsea. Maresca clearly keen to get some support up to Nicholas Jackson as quickly as possible. Foden's come in as a like-for-like swap for Savinho on the right side of the Manchester City attack. Here is Foden linking up with Mateo Kovacic. Kovacic did really well there to burst past a couple of tackles, but he eventually is caught by the retreating Caicedo. Lavia into the feet of Jackson, who drops deep central, midway inside the Chelsea half of the field. Works this near right side with Palmer, feeds it low into the box, back to Jackson. Jackson seemed to get his feet in a bit of a tangle there as he tried to get away from Akanji and Diaz. Eventually City get it away, win a throw in on the halfway line, which Kevin De Bruyne will take as he drifts over to the left side of the field. Josko Gvardiol with a switch over, aiming for Phil Foden, but it's headed away by Marc Cucurella. Nkunku will get there before Rico Lewis on the halfway line, and Chelsea back in possession. 5 minutes gone here since the restart. If you've just joined us at the half-time break, Chelsea under new management this season, of course. Enzo Maresca opted to leave all of his summer transfer signings on the bench from the start. Obviously huge potential that might change as the game ticks on, but it is the Premier League goal scorer in box office name that has made the difference so far. Erling Haaland, close range finish, shrugged off. Levi Colwill and Marc Cucurella, just a dink homer, toe poke pass from Bernardo Silva. Chances for Kevin De Bruyne and Jeremy Doku as well. Nicholas Jackson had an effort ruled out by VAR for offside just before the break. but the hosts have been second best to the champions so far. Gusto does really well there to race back onto the halfway line and cover it at right back. Chelsea quickly try and once more spring that ball in behind to get Jackson away, but Ederson is smartly off his line to gather. Here's Phil Foden dropping back in at right back to allow Rico Lewis to bomb forward. Mateo Kovacic who picks it up for City here on the edge of the centre circle inside his own half of the field. Neatly worked to the left wing with Doku. Great feet there just to dance away from Malo Gusto. Short of options though as he's forced in field. Bruyne works it to Gvardiol, who's found himself in the number 10 position. Just like a wander forward does Josko Gvardiol. He's a fan of a spectacular goal as well here as De Bruyne tries to find Silva on the edge of the box. Fall for Haaland, and he tests Robert Sanchez. The Spaniard is up to the task this time. Just pushes it away from danger. Again, disjointed from Chelsea on the edge of their own box. De Bruyne, Silva, quick as a flash into the feet of Haaland. Sanchez just cushions that away from goal. First chance of the second period, and it goes to Manchester City. Visitors eventually work possession all the way back to their own goalkeeper Ederson, and they'll go into Ruben Diaz on the halfway line. Akanji, Foden, back with Akanji. Now Kovacic, out of Silva in the centre circle for City. No need for City to rush here. They have got the advantage. They relative control of the game. Cole Palmer's been the main threat, as you'd expect, for Chelsea in the opening 50 or so minutes. Scored against his former side last season, of course, in the 4-4 draw here at the Bridge. Seen a few little flashes of excitement from him, but no breakthrough as yet for the home team. Scored, of course, in England's Euro 2024 final defeat to Spain off the bench. It's back to club matters for Palmer now as Ederson, under a bit of pressure, just kicks that long into the Chelsea half of the field. It will bounce out for a throw-in, which the right back Malo Gusto will take into Fofana. Chelsea struggling to punch any holes in the Manchester City midfield when Lavia and Caicedo are in possession. Enzo Fernandez is trying to show for it, looking to draw either Diaz or Akanji out and try and give Nicholas Jackson some space in behind. No Rodri, of course, today for Man City. A gruelling summer and a hamstring injury keeping him out of Gvardiola's plans, as Cucurella does well to overlap down that left-hand side. Can he find a put back into the box? He does, but City deal with it. Kovacic will try and build out here, and Haaland is left in a heap inside the centre circle. It's Wesley Fofana who went through the back of him. Lasting damage for the Manchester City number 9. Takes a lot to take him down. He's back on his feet with a big smile on his face, and who can blame him? His goal has Pep Guardiola's team in front here in the capital. Of course, looking to respond to opening day victories for Liverpool and Arsenal yesterday. A free kick conceded there by a little coming together from Marc Cucurella and Bernardo Silva. Not short on self-confidence, Marc Cucurella. Anthony Taylor just telling Bernardo Silva to walk away there. He was caught by Silva caught Cucurella inside the Chelsea penalty area. Made himself a social media sensation over the summer, Marc Cucurella, with his Cucurella Paella Estrella song. Chelsea fans who feared his comments on Erling Haaland might come back to haunt him have been proven right so far. He was involved in Chelsea's attempts to stop Haaland from scoring the opening goal, and despite his confidence of having Haaland trembling, it was the Chelsea net that ended up trembling as the goal machine marked his card for the season. Throw in here to Chelsea, this near right hand side, deep in their own half of the field. Malo Gusto to take from right back. Lavia, good work there from Lavia just to break off the shackles of Silva and Haaland. Sanchez will go to Cucurella. That ball down the left hand touchline, not kept in. Sloppy from Chelsea. Be throw in to Manchester City. Seeing some players starting to flag a little here as we move towards the hour mark. The demands of an international summer, of course, major talking point in the opening weekend of the season, and just spin through some of the names starting for both teams here. They were crucial for their country. Cucurella with Spain, Cole Palmer with England. Break, of course, for Erling Haaland, but Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Jeremy Doku, Mateo Kovacic, Josko Gvardiol, Ruben Diaz, Akanji, all away on European Championship duty for City. Manchester City side who are fighting across four fronts this season. Champions League phase gets underway at the start of September. EFL Cup further down the line, and then the FA Cup from the start of 2025. Phil Foden just dinks that away from Marc Cucurella to find Bernardo Silva. Back with Foden now. He'll try and slide that into the box to Kevin De Bruyne, but it's dealt with by Levi Colwill. Back with Bernardo Silva on that far right hand side for Manchester City, midway in the Chelsea half of the field. Back with Silva now. He's got space to go again at Cucurella. Tries to measure across into the box, but it's hacked away eventually by Cucurella. Akanji gets there before Fernandes. Fernandes again shouting for a free kick. Anthony Taylor tells him to get up to his feet. We are going to see the first change for Chelsea in just a moment. Portuguese international Pedro Neto signed from Wolves in the final days before the season starts. A hefty £51 million fee to bring him from Molineux. He's going to be brought on here just before the hour mark in place of Christoph Nkunku. Another player, of course, building his fitness back to full pelt after a difficult first season. Major injury problems in 2023-24, and Pedro Neto, the wing wizard formerly of Wolves, is on for his Chelsea debut. Be like for like, you'd imagine, with Nkunku. Neto will slot into that left side of the Chelsea attack. Cole Palmer sticking to this near right hand side. Here is Palmer, tries to put some pressure on Josko Gvardiol on the halfway line, but he's backed up by his Croatian teammate Kovacic. Kovacic slips under pressure though and gives away possession. Now work to Palmer. Got space for him to raid onto down the right hand side towards the Manchester City penalty area. Squares it across the edge of the area. Caicedo blocked by Silva. Caicedo will rework it to Fernandes across the 6-yard line, and Rico Lewis at the far post takes it off the toe of Pedro Neto, who with his first touch, or almost his first touch rather, was inches away from poking Chelsea level. That is a vital bit of defending there from Rico Lewis. That was a certain goal for Pedro Neto. As Fernandes' pass fizzed across the box, Neto just waiting to get a toe on it and nudge it past Ederson. Manchester City's stand-in right back Rico Lewis gets there first. Corner to Chelsea on that far left, taken by Fernandes, right-footed into the near post. City eventually managed to scramble it away. Big hoof forward there from Kovacic. Haaland will challenge for it, and Haaland will get Doku moving away down the right. He's got away from Malo Gusto. Gusto's got a tangle here with Doku, and Doku's got options in the middle if he can find Haaland. The ball was just behind him, and Lavia can recover. Not too dissimilar to a situation in the first half as Doku broke away and just couldn't find the ball into Haaland. The same outcome there as Chelsea get away with one once again. Lewis once more forced to race back towards his own corner flag to shut out Pedro Neto. Does really well there, the Manchester City fullback, but his clearance gathered in by Cucurella. Palmer's drifted infield now to a central area midway inside the Manchester City half of the pitch. Cucurella, now Pedro Neto. A chance for him to drive at Foden and Lewis. Opts against it for now though. Chelsea just keep possession. Caicedo, Cucurella. Back to Neto. A bit more space now to drive at Lewis, and drive he does. Tries to dig that one in. Fernandes helps it on. Can Gusto keep it in on the dead ball line? He does. Headed away by Silva. Lavia keeps it alive. Jackson with a drive, and Ederson with a save. Smashed behind by Manchester City. That'll be a throw in eventually. Good reactions from Ederson there. Nicholas Jackson just stuck out a leg. He had to get something on that to turn it into an effort on target. It was straight at Ederson, but the Manchester City keeper reacted. Just stuck out an arm to keep it away. It was straight at him, but he needed to respond quickly. Jackson tussling and tangling with Ruben Diaz inside the 6-yard box. Probably the best that the Senegalese international could do in that situation. Ederson denies it. More substitutes sent out to warm up by Enzo Maresca as we await this throw in next to the corner flag taken by Gusto. Short to Caicedo, who whipped one in for the right hand side. Neto tried to take it on the chest as it bounced through to him. Just a little bit ring rusty there, the Chelsea substitute. Ederson will drop on that one. So Mikhailo Mudryk, Noni Madueke and Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall all sent out for a jog by Enzo Maresca. Chelsea beginning to build up a head of steam here. As the old cliche goes, until that second goal goes in, or in the case of recent meetings between these two teams, the third, fourth or fifth goal goes in, no result is safe. There's Kevin De Bruyne, just drifted over to the left hand side now and strides past Cole Palmer over the halfway line, backed up by Doku. City just look to work it infield now with Kovacic. Carouselled over to the opposite flank now with Foden, but he can't squeeze a ball through there, and Chelsea will break away. Neto's got space down the left hand side, but he's covered by Kovacic. Good industry there from Kovacic to get back and cover with Foden and Lewis far advanced. Bernardo Silva just gets back in there to help out his defensive colleagues. He'll probably find himself slotted into a deeper role as this game progresses, particularly if it stays at 1-0 to City. Kovacic effectively holding down the fort on his own so far today, as De Bruyne manages to work that out to Doku. Doku will go past Gusto into the box. Just smash that cross right the way over to Phil Foden. Phil Foden just about keeping it in to keep Man City moving down the right. Kovacic, Silva, Akanji. No sign of a change at this point from Pep Guardiola. Savinho, of course, taken off at the break. We're told that is as part of an injury precaution for Foden, replacing him as De Bruyne tries to hook one into the box to Haaland. Haaland can't quite get away there, but it falls, and it falls kindly for Rico Lewis. He fires home, but immediately the referee raises his hand to indicate an infringement. I think it's Erling Haaland's caught Levi Colwill as they challenge for that ball. Lofted in by De Bruyne, taken down on Haaland's chest. Colwill gets a foot in, makes the block. I think Haaland catches him with a follow through, and Mark Cucurella was too busy complaining for the foul. He didn't see Rico Lewis pop up and smash one past Robert Sanchez. Clear foul there by Erling Haaland. The score stays Chelsea 0, Manchester City 1. 67 minutes gone here at Stamford Bridge. And the referee, on the back of a bit of pushing and shoving after that incident, is going to go to his pocket here. There's going to be a caution for Erling Haaland. We'll have to wait and see if that was in relation to the foul or something that happened in the aftermath. He does catch Levi Colwill as he goes to ground, and it's a sore one for the Chelsea defender. Clearly Anthony Taylor viewed that as slightly more serious than it initially looked. More changes for Chelsea. We'll get some updates on those in just a minute. The stoppage in play is allowing them to make those alterations. There's going to be a flurry of new faces. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall and Mark Guiu on. Romeo Lavia off and Nicholas Jackson off. Two immediate changes. Dewsbury-Hall will go into midfield to replace Lavia, with Guiu leading the attack. Signed this summer from Barcelona, highly rated in Catalonia, but the difficult financial situation has meant sales to allow for purchases for Joan Laporta. And Guiu, despite being amongst a clutch of players to have emerged through La Masia in the last 12 months, finds himself in a new home in West London. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, of course, is experienced in the Premier League, having played here for Leicester City before. Vital for Maresca in their charge to promotion last season, and just like his manager, he accepted the offer to scoot down the M1. Leicester in action tomorrow night at home to Tottenham. That's the final Premier League game of the extended weekend. We'll have live audio coverage here on Flash Score. It's an 8 PM kick-off from the King Power. Here's Mark Cucurella. A neat little ball into the feet of Enzo Fernandez on the halfway line. Fernandez has dropped a bit deeper after those changes. I think you might see Dewsbury-Hall moved into the more advanced midfield position. Caicedo alongside Fernandez for now. Neto and Palmer providing the width, but Palmer tried a little dart through the middle there, so that ball was lofted forward, but it's well dealt with by Gvardiol, who finds Doku. And Augusto gets back at the Belgian on the halfway line to force him back into his own half of the pitch. So much attention on the new faces on the Chelsea bench that we haven't had a chance to look at Manchester City. Savinho starting, so there's no new signings, but two impressive pre-season campaigners. Nico O'Reilly, who was a key part of their tour of the United States. Pep Guardiola confirming that he will be a first-team player this season, a highly rated academy graduate. James McAtee is back after 2 seasons on loan at Sheffield United. He'll be keen to impress Guardiola should he get an opportunity in the coming weeks. Gvardiol looks to fire that forward from left back to Doku, but it's dealt with by Gusto again on the halfway line. Doku gets back though to nick away possession from Cole Palmer, and Kevin De Bruyne is fouled there by Wesley Fofana. I think we're going to see a caution here for the Chelsea man, keen to get to the ball. Comes right through the back of Kevin De Bruyne. Rakes down the Achilles of the Belgian. No card. Anthony Taylor happy with the telling off for the moment. I think Fofana can count himself slightly lucky for that one. The City get us back underway. 20 minutes. The City get us back underway. 20 minutes still to play here at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 1. Erling Haaland's first half goal. Chelsea battling, of course, to Chelsea battling, of course, to draw level with Manchester United as the most ever points picked up in an opening Premier League weekend. 67 each at the start of the campaign. Manchester United now on to 70 after beating Fulham on Friday night. Chelsea, only a win will see them back level with the Red Devils. It's Neto even with a little step over to come in off that left-hand touchline. Phil Foden lets him go. He's lofted over to this near side. Malo Gusto will take that to the over to this near side. Malo Gusto will take that down on the edge of the box in front of Doku. Finds Caicedo. Work back over again to Neto on the left-hand touchline for Wolves. Chance to run at Rico Lewis. Gets past him and Foden. Cucurella will measure across into the box. Ederson with a spill. Doku had to get there. Just get his body in front of Malo Gusto to prevent a chance, and a little step over inside his own box there from Doku, but he gives it away. Dewsbury Hall thought about the shot. Fernandes attempted to wind one up, but he was immediately grappling with Mateo Kovacic. Neto will loft one in again from the left-hand side, but Gvardiol will see that all the way and fire a clearance into the stands. Show for the champions here. Firm feeling that if they get a clear-cut opportunity for Haaland or Foden, De Bruyne, Doku, they will see this game out. But they just haven't been able. To put their foot on points. Will be heading back up the road to Manchester this evening. Long throw in over the halfway line. Haaland will drop. Long throw in over the halfway line. Haaland will drop over to this left-hand side and battle and win a throw in. Manchester City fans enjoyed that one from their number 9. Pep Guardiola off the bench to give him a round of applause as well. Just bullish there to keep Manchester City inside Chelsea's half. Gvardiol's throw in will again be tossed in towards the corner flag. Haaland will get there first before Fofana protects it, and is buffeted by Fofana and Malo Gusto. Fofana eventually just about wins out and smashes away a clearance rather clumsily, and Gvardiol will pick 5, and De Bruyne past the post. Almost identical situation to the opportunity he had in the first half. He was stretching there as it fell nicely to him on his right foot. Foden was arms aloft waiting for the pass. Can't really blame Kevin De Bruyne for going for goal there. Just didn't quite have his radar switched up to maximum. Rico Lewis, good turn to get away from Cucurella. Foden, and Foden back into Rico Lewis, on into the box, tried to find Haaland, and it's knocked behind for a corner by Wesley Fofana. That is what City can do in the blink of an eye. The pace and the creativity. Good run here from Foden to cause the initial distraction, but it was Lewis's energy to burst forward that almost forced an opportunity. City will have to settle for a corner. This near right-hand side, Anthony Taylor just stepping in to stop a bit of wrestling between Haaland and Enzo Fernandez. Corner taken short. De Bruyne sees that run of Doku, but so too do the Chelsea defence, and Fofana will see that behind for a goal kick. Fernandez and Haaland are still going at it, hammer and tongs. Erling Haaland very, very unhappy with something that's gone on there. Anthony Taylor just giving a word of advice to both players, pointing to Enzo Fernandez's captain's armband, reminding the Argentinian international of his responsibilities as the Blues leader here today. Sensible officiating there from the experienced Taylor. 15 minutes to go as Chelsea aim to avoid defeat on Enzo Maresca's Premier League debut. Eventually possession just worked back to Robert Sanchez inside his own box here. Plays it short to Fofana, who'll clip that into Cole Palmer. It's Mateo Kovacic who wins out in the middle third of the pitch. He's had a really strong game in there, the experienced former Chelsea player, of course. He's offered a calmness and a tenacity that Chelsea have certainly lacked here. Slightly disjointed in the middle of the pitch with Lavia, Fernandes and Moises Caicedo. Again, Dewsbury Hall, who's been introduced, is yet to have an impact. I'm not even sure if he's had a touch of the ball so far. Here he is now, tries to press Ruben Diaz on the edge of the Manchester City penalty area. Kovacic, in the absence of Rodri, has played that holding midfield position to a T for City, allowing Silva and De Bruyne to get forward and flex their creative muscles. Here is Bernardo Silva, just passes that one over the halfway line into Doku, who's drifted centrally. He tries to feed it on to Haaland inside the box, but Wesley Fofana's there once more for Chelsea. Cole Palmer will complete the clearance. Drifted across the halfway line to Dewsbury Hall. Now Cucurella. Switch from left to right, this time Gusto with space to break into. Kevin De Bruyne back at left back, tries to track him. Good ball to find Palmer. Gusto will go again, tries to cut it across the box. Diaz slides in, makes the block. Kovacic will back him up. Chelsea players are appealing for a possible handball there against Kovacic. Diaz slid in with his arms behind his back to ensure that he didn't handle it. But as the second cross came in, Mateo Kovacic wasn't as careful, and it does strike the Manchester City number 8 on the hand. It's in very, very close quarters to Malo Gusto. He's shaking his head, as you'd expect. And Anthony Taylor here, he's just asking for a moment. Both sets of players are being told to prepare for a corner. No VAR check, no penalty for Chelsea. Cole Palmer to take, left-footed from the Chelsea right, goes deep, headed away by Manuel Akanji. Dewsbury Hall will try and keep that alive on the far left for Chelsea. Now Caicedo, back to Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Crossing opportunity here, level with the 18-yard box for Pedro Neto, but he goes infield to Dewsbury Hall. Caicedo, Gusto. Chelsea are just going to work this back from left to right. Fernandes. City happy to just shuffle across, fill those gaps. Neto does well to step away from Silva, and he'll try and lift one in from the left-hand side, headed away by Diaz. Gvardiol up but not out. De Bruyne can't make a meaningful clearance there, and Dewsbury Hall beats Bernardo Silva to it on the edge of the City box. Plenty of pressure here from Chelsea. Can they find something? Can they find a little gap to exploit? They're not going to do it with passes like that. Moises Caicedo just trying to fizz it into Gio. That will just bounce behind for a goal kick to Manchester City. A little over 10 minutes to go here at Stamford Bridge. It feels like a lifetime ago since Erling Haaland put the champions in front. 18 minutes on the clock as he dinked past Robert Sanchez. Nicholas Jackson denied twice by an offside flag before the break. A pair of opportunities either side of the half-time whistle for Kevin De Bruyne. It was only Haaland that has registered a goal so far. Marc Cucurella down, claiming that he was caught in the air there by Haaland. Possibly a bit of cramp as well as he fell. Chelsea players will trot over to give him a stretch. To be expected, of course, on the back of so many games over the summer. A few parties as well, I'd imagine, for Marc Cucurella. He was front row and centre of Spain's celebrations after winning Euro 2024. Something of a surprise that he's actually starting today, given the fact that his pre-season's been pretty limited. We're going to see another Chelsea debut here. Renato Vega play across multiple positions. Centre-back, defensive midfield and left-back. And it's going to be his first appearance as a Chelsea player at left-back. Cucurella's afternoon is done. We are into the final 10 minutes and Vega is on for Chelsea. 4 changes, 4 club debuts, 2 first ever appearances in English football for Guillaume and Vega. Still just that one change from Pep Guardiola. Phil Foden on for Savinho at the break. Might look to make a change or two to eat down some time as we move towards the final 5 minutes. As Doku darts in off that left-hand touchline. He's covered a lot of ground here to get within striking range of goal, but eventually forced to play it out wide to Phil Foden. Kovacic. The score stays as it is. Erling Haaland will of course get all the plaudits, but Mateo Kovacic has been at the heart of everything good about Manchester City today. Wesley Fofana, probably the pick of performers for Chelsea, worked really hard to ensure that the home team have kept this at 1-0. As Renato Vega gets his first touch there, just gets in front of Bernardo Silva to concede a throw-in over in the Chelsea left-back spot. City work it backwards though to Josko Gvardiol on halfway. Diaz, Bernardo Silva. Manchester City, of course, so experienced in these situations. They have players who've been here and done it so many times, but Ederson's ball out was a dicey one there, and Dewsbury Hall almost made him pay. Couldn't quite divert his intervention into the path of Pedro Neto. It's Kovacic who gets there first to feed it on to Rico Lewis. Now Phil Foden. Can he find Erling Haaland? No. Levi Colwill slams the door on the edge of the box, and Chelsea sloppy as they try to break away. Neto just can't keep up with that pass. To be expected with so many new faces in this Chelsea team that they will be disjointed. Dewsbury Hall, Guillaume, Vega, Neto not quite on the same page at the moment. Another thing added to Enzo Maresco's to-do list as the season progresses. As we mentioned at the start of the game, given Chelsea's habit of hiring and firing managers, he knows that he cannot afford poor start to life here in West London. Having European action in midweek, a 6th place Premier League finish under Mauricio Pochettino last season means a Europa Conference League playoff place. They host Swiss side Servette on Thursday evening, and then they're away at Wolves in Premier League action a week today. It's Phil Foden forced backwards there by Pedro Neto, who's raced back at left back for Chelsea. City perfectly happy just to keep Chelsea at arm's length here and keep that clock winding down. Move it quickly over to Doku here, but he'll have a run at gusto, and Doku will drive it across the box. Sanchez with the grab. Colwill was quick to make sure he was keeping an eye on Erling Haaland there. Chelsea almost make a mess of the clearance, but Fofana eventually gets it away. Picked up by Kovacic, just steps over the halfway line there, gets away from Caicedo. Kovacic onto the edge of the box. Kovacic! What a finish from Mateo Kovacic! A spectacular performance from the former Chelsea man, and a winning goal to cap it off. Read the clearance brilliantly from Wesley Fofana, stepped away from a rather tired challenge from Moises Caicedo, and with no options in front of him on the edge of the box, he saw a space and he smashes that past Robert Sanchez. A muted celebration, as you'd expect from the former Real Madrid man. On Flashscore UK, it is Chelsea 0. Over 5 minutes of normal time, but with just over 5 minutes of normal time remaining, as City look to be cool, calm and collected, Mateo Kovacic buries what's just his 2nd Premier League goal in the sky blue of Manchester City, and he has rocketed that past Robert Sanchez game, set and match here at Stamford Bridge. Enzo Maresca's Premier League debut is ending in defeat as he gets himself a little lesson from the old maestro Pep Guardiola. And the champions are matching their rivals. Arsenal 2-0 winners yesterday, Liverpool 2-0 on the road at Ipswich Town. And Guardiola's defending champions 2-0 to the good here at the Bridge with just minutes to go. I mentioned before that Kovacic will have a battle on his hands for the Player of the Match award against Erling Haaland. Pretty confident that he's edged ahead of the Norwegian with that one. A penny for Enzo Maresca's thoughts here. It is going to take time for this team to gel. So many new and expensive parts to fit into the wider picture. It was always going to be difficult coming up against the experienced title-winning side in Manchester City. Pep Guardiola's nous in this type of situation, and a team packed with players who've racked up so much Premier League experience over the years. But he'll need to rally his troops. There is an opportunity here now for Gvardiol just to take stock. I'd up to give De Bruyne and one or two others just a moment's breather before the final whistle. Has looked to reduce the amount of substitutions that he makes in the last 12 months. Pep Guardiola, his previous reputation as a bit of a tinkerer. But he knows that it's a long and demanding campaign that's opening up in front of him, and De Bruyne and co need to be at their freshest. Here's Malo Gusto, pushed well forward from right back for Chelsea. Forced in field though, finds Cole Palmer, who's moved in to a number 10 position to try and influence things in the final few minutes. Shifted over to the left now for Chelsea. Pedro Neto, Fernandes. Caicedo offers the easy ball. Everybody in City Sky Blue dropping back here just to see the game out. Haaland at the point of the defensive effort. Silva, De Bruyne, Kovacic just chasing down, shutting off those spaces for Chelsea as Dewsbury Hall tries to work an angle here on the edge of the box. Kovacic again there with a really important tackle, this time nicking it away, and City can charge forward down the left with Doku. Can he get away from Gusto? He's got the strength to do that. Holds him off, holds up for possession for City on the edge of the Chelsea box. Bullish there from Doku just to make sure that Gusto didn't get back in front of him. De Bruyne offers him the pass, and City keep the ball. Just over a minute of the 90 still to play here. City happy just to ease possession all the way back to Ederson. Little passing triangles over in the far corner. Kovacic there barges Kieran Dewsbury Hall to the floor. Remains combative to the last, Mateo Kovacic. De Bruyne just helps that goal kick from Ederson on to Doku, but Doku goes down. He's caught there by Caicedo as he tried to get away over the halfway line down the City left. This could be a booking for Moises Caicedo. By my count, that's just the second caution of the game. Haaland booked for City, booked for City after a little tangle with a couple of Chelsea defenders. The champions quick to get on from here. Doku just brilliantly there to get away for a couple of tackles. Can he find a cutback inside the box? He does. But it's the substitute, Renato Vega, who's there just in front of Erling Haaland on the 6-yard line. Bernardo Silva there with a cheeky foul to stop Chelsea breaking away. Great change of feet there from Doku to get away from two Chelsea players on into the box. Sanchez goes to the ground and he only had eyes for Haaland. Doku. Good awareness from Vega to shut the door. Palmer tries to sweep across from right to left, but Neto's touch is loose. Guiu tries the shot, but he's blocked off by Foden. 5 minutes added on here, just as was the case at the end of the first half. Rico Lewis tries to play forward into the feet of Foden. And that right touchline midway inside City's half, but Foden is hacked to the floor by Vega. Correct myself here, because I don't think we are going to see any Manchester City changes in the final moments. Guardiola ready to keep his current side in place. Only real negative from today, of course, that injury to Savinho. The updates that we received during the second half is that it's not a serious concern, it was a precaution over the former Girona man. No need to take a risk on first game of the season, but a disappointing Premier League debut for him nonetheless. Man City not in European action in midweek. They're already safely through to the league stage of the newly formatted Champions League this season. They're at home to newly promoted Ipswich Town on Saturday, August the 24th. We'll of course have live audio coverage here on Flash Score of that one. Full schedule next weekend as the Premier League kicks right into gear. Palmer does well there, just a wriggle away from Kovacic, and he'll drag a shot from the edge of the box, but it's wide of the post. Ederson just stepping across and allowing that to bounce behind. Pep Guardiola still out on his feet, barking instructions at the players. Just to make sure they get over the line here with no scares. They do have themselves a, quote, winnable run of games before the September international break. Home to Ipswich next weekend, away at West Ham on the 31st of August. The bulk of Guardiola's squad will then go away on international duty. Brentford at home on September the 14th. And then mark your diaries, September 22nd, Manchester City at home to Arsenal. Guardiola versus Arteta once again in what could already be a possible Premier League title indicator. I'm not going for decider, I'm going for indicator. Good work there from Doku, battling away down by this corner flag on the City left, wins a throw-in off Cole Palmer. Bruyne will come over to take. City just looking to keep possession here and tick down the clock to the final minute of the 5 added on by referee Anthony Taylor. Haaland will step in there to add his weight to the situation. City do eventually get it clear, but it's Bernardo Silva who steps forward, heads that back into the Chelsea final third. Doku will take it down. Malo Gusto is appealing for offside there. The referee agrees. Final few seconds for Chelsea to try and make something happen. Can they find a goal to sign off on Enzo Maresca's Premier League debut here at Stamford Bridge? Moises Caicedo inside the centre circle finds Cole Palmer. Palmer, who's abandoned his right wing role now, he's firmly in the middle for Manchester City, but that ball from Gusto is cleared away. Colwill will pick it up midway inside the City half, switched out to the left now with Pedro Neto. Thought about the cross, instead goes to Fernandes on the edge of the box. Fernandes with the drive, and Ederson at the second attempt gets his gloves on it. A few nervy moments for the City goalkeeper today. His handling's been a touch suspect. does get a couple of gloves on that eventually, and that, you'd imagine, will be that